The Last Echo of Elara. The signal arrived without a sound. There was no ping on any console, nor a flicker of static across the speakers. Instead, it was a silent, insistent whisper of light, a coherent photon stream striking our deep space receiver array, as quiet and undeniable as a single perfect raindrop amidst a cosmic hurricane. Here at the Aeterna Institute, we grew accustomed to the mysterious, but this was not just strange, it was targeted. Not random static from the cosmic noise, but a measured touch. From a sector supposedly empty, the silent quarter. Not only did it emerge from an unexplored dead zone, what we called the silent quarter, it carried another peculiarity. This was no broadcast. Instead, it was a laser-thin thread of information aimed with impossible precision directly at Earth. It felt in my gut less like a random discovery and more like a deliberate delivery. I knew, even then, that this was the opening note of a different kind of story. The date was June 26, 2055, a day that would, for me, forever eclipse any historical precedent. One whose echo would haunt not just me, but the very future humanity thought it had secured. Something deep inside me shifted, sensing the scale of what was to come. My name is Dr. Aris Thorne. Officially, I'm Chief Bioethicist and Head of Cellular Cultivation at the Aeterna Institute. In simple terms, I grow things. My life's work has revolved around perfecting cultivated protein. With advanced AI, we built digital twins of organic structures, filet mignon, tuna belly, and instructed our bioreactors to print them cell by cell. Using a multi-omics approach, we mapped every genome, every protein, every metabolite, striving to create food indistinguishable from the real, yet free of cruelty or consequence. I was, in a sense, a master of creating form without life, flesh without a heart, food born of algorithms. As a sculptor with biology as my medium, I thought I was peering into the summit of human creation. But that belief, held with the arrogance of achievement, was about to be shattered. The data packet, when it truly arrived, was massive, a monolith built from quantum encryption. Our best AI struggled, taking 72 grueling hours just to find an entry point. It was security on another level, humbling everything our own systems could muster. Silvio, my lead AI engineer, stared with both mystification and delight. When the first layer of encryption fell, the message stared back. Deceptively simple, yet chilling. It was a timestamp, not born from our past, but from a distant future. Final transmission, it declared, year 2122. The gravity of that moment left the lab in absolute silence. I stood alone in the sterile cold of the data core, watching as information unfolded in waves across the shimmering displays. It wasn't a warning or distress call, it was a person. Encapsulated within the light was a complete biological and neurological blueprint. A genome as flawless as any mythology, a proteome that spanned a lifetime. Nested within a map impossible to ignore, a complete connectome, the cartography of a soul digitized. Her name was Elara. Her genome was perfect, her proteome a living library stretching back to her first breath. But what was nested inside chilled me to the core, a connectome of staggering detail, a map of every connection in her brain. It was not just a body, it was a soul turned into light, a photonic ghost from a century yet to come. The file bore a simple, stark label, Chrono Capsule 01, the Last Echo. I found myself staring at it for long moments, unable to move. It felt monumental, both invitation and epitaph, something meant for us, and us alone. That week, my entire existence narrowed to a singular obsession, Elara. Not merely reading the mountain of data, but plunging into her world. The Institute's AI rendered her memories into a labyrinthine simulation. I became a silent observer as her consciousness replayed. Childhood under glass spires, the warmth of a mother's touch, the pain of a scraped knee, the tumult of first love beneath a holographic sky. I discovered Elara was a historian, keeper of stories in a world that had almost run out of them. Her city shimmered under toxic haze, civilization hollowed yet clinging to wonder. Her senses lived inside me, the trembling of fear, the warmth of love, the gravity of memories as heavy as the dying world outside. Her world was not crushed by war or plague, but tormented by sterility. Humanity was unraveling, DNA fraying beyond repair. Despite miraculous sciences, a flaw emerged that proved insurmountable. Facing extinction, those who survived funneled all they had left into one desperate act. No time machines. Instead, a message. When there was almost nothing left, they held a lottery. Elara, a historian who cherished stories, was chosen. Or maybe doomed. She became the vessel, one soul given a chance to leap back through light, a civilization's last trembling hope encoded into photons, sent out into the endless dark. I watched her say goodbye, her family, her friends, the remnants of her dying kind, all faces twisted with hope and unfathomable sorrow. She was strapped into the consciousness scanner, voice quiveringly brave, eyes shining with silent resolve for those she's about to leave forever. Her final memory, a single focused beam of light blasting from a dying planet, carrying not data, but the soul of a whole world, fired out into the vast, cold, infinite dark. It was the ultimate gamble, the universe's rarest lottery ticket. I emerged from the simulation altered at my core. The immensity, the sacred dilemma, settled onto my shoulders with the weight of collapsing stars. We possessed the means. Could my techniques for printed meat be amplified to rebuild an entire being? Could AI translate a ghost into a living woman? The theory stood before us. With AI digital twin technology, Elara's Connect to Me could, in principle, be imprinted onto a newly grown blank brain. We had all the ingredients. We could give her a body. We could grant life to this ghost of light. No sooner was the breakthrough revealed than the world descended. Governments saw, in Elara, a weapon, a miraculous soldier from the future. Corporations glimpsed the ultimate commodity, immortality itself. Broadcasts spoke in the breathless hush reserved for world-shaking news. They pitched wildly, the rich preserving their minds before death, reborn endlessly in new engineered bodies. Humanity, they promised, would leave death behind with the graceful ease of installing a new app. Each consciousness a line item, each life a beta test. But I saw only Elara, the child terrified of darkness, the woman who wept for lost films, a historian who gave her story for history itself. She was never a product or a weapon. She was a person, fragile and irreplaceable, and her memory awakened a fierce protectiveness in me. June 26th echoed in my mind, layered through history, a day for new beginnings. On that date in 1945, the UN Charter arose from war's ashes. In 2000, science unveiled the first human genome map. Now, history rhymed anew, a test not about nations nor genes, but the essence of a soul. The pressure crescendoed. Corporate superiors, insatiable and gleaming with anticipation, ordered me to prepare for full-scale consciousness integration. Efficiency and profit, the only words that carried any weight. Elara's mind, a software package in their eyes to be downloaded and controlled. "You don't understand," I told them, voice trembling, fury new to my veins. "You can't simply copy and paste a soul. Her mind is a tapestry, 30 years in the making, woven through joy and pain in a universe alien to ours. To force all this into a newborn would be unspeakable cruelty. A monster, not a resurrection. From the look in their eyes, you'd think I'd lost my mind. A bioethicist preaching about souls to a room of financial calculators. My mission was now clear. This was no longer about advancing science. This was about protecting humanity's most fragile inheritance. I remembered a century-old engineer who once shaped technology to serve human peace, not just productivity. A scheduler designed simply to let users sleep, untouched by midnight alerts. That was everything Elara needed, a space to heal, not a mechanism to exploit. I acted. With a hand-picked, trusted team, we slipped underground, choosing secrecy and purpose over applause or power. We would not install Elara, but grow her. We would shield her, not as a product, but as a human soul reborn. So we started. In the dim light, inside secret walls, a body took form within a bioreactor. Slow, sacred, cellular, everything deliberate. I watched as each molecule aligned into the legend of Elara. Everyone in the room felt the weight, the reverence of creation itself. But we resolved to do more than rebuild flesh. We would not force Elara's past upon her. Using our AI, we isolated her memories, sealing them away, planning to introduce stories of her previous life only gradually, as she grew and developed. We would give her a childhood, a chance for her new brain to forge its own connections, new patterns, a nascent identity free from the burden of a dying world. Every day she would be allowed to play, to ask, to learn. Her memories, when gently introduced, would be stories. A history, not a cage. Her past, we decided, would not be a torrent but a trickle. Memories presented as stories. She would be guided gently, given a history as any child learns about ancestors. The past would inform, but not overwhelm. Hope, not despair, would be the lesson. We refused to fashion her into a monument burdened by trauma and memory. Elara, now blossoming in the present, deserved the right to choose her own meaning. Ours was not a tale of technology, but of compassion and nurture, a new kind of creation. Years passed in secret rebellion. I aged, my hair thinning and whitening. Inside a quiet house, surrounded by relics of forbidden science, I watched seasons turn and time soften the sharpest memories. I had done what I set out to do. It is June 26th again. I am old now, sitting on the porch amidst the hum of fireflies. Elara, a young woman radiant with life, walks toward me cradling tea and laughter. She is home, here, now, nothing of a ghost. Her soul is brighter than anything we ever distilled from data. She knows her story. She carries the memories of the world she came from, honoring those lost, grieving as needed. But these are her history, not her identity. Her life belongs to her alone, here and now. She is not a remnant of the future, but a brilliant, loving person of the present. "What are you thinking about, Aris?" she asks, a voice warm and real. The world seems to focus on the small, perfect simplicity of this moment as satellites weave faint glimmers above. I look at the sky, our satellites weaving light across dusk, wondering how far messages truly go. My reply aches with emotion. I was just thinking about messages. The most vital ones, rarely about technology. They're about hope. Her smile, honest and unburdened, is the one true answer. The technology was only the vessel, the means to carry a story across an impossible gulf. The real message was always the spark of humanity we chose to defend, to nurture, and to celebrate. Creation's true journey, I realize, has only just begun. Tonight we have written a new charter, not with law or code, but in the quiet resilience of one irreplaceable life, Elara's. Across decades, risks, and time's ocean, this is the line that endures. Our decision to protect not just a life, but the beating heart of hope. Elara is proof that stories, even those fired across the cosmos on a beam of desperation, can find new meaning and new life. The journey is not over. In the cool hush of twilight, there is a sense that we have only written the opening line of what comes next. With hope as our message across the ages,